for Spider-Man 3 as Mary Jane Watson. And then on top of that, it's just been announced by Murphy's Multiverse, who is he does Charles over there does a lot of scoops, and they turn out to be pretty much on the money. And he's reporting that Charlie Cox is going to be playing Daredevil in Spider-Man 3. So, of course, Charlie Cox played Daredevil in the Netflix series, in the Netflix Daredevil series, and people were desperate for Marvel to revive the series. The rights had gone back to Marvel Studios. I think it was last Sunday, maybe not the Sunday before, and they were really pleading with them to just revive the series and just get Charlie Cox to play Daredevil, aka Matt Murdock, again. But it looks like no, he's going to be in the MCU. He's this again is reportedly, so it still is speculation up until this moment. But then loads of people were jumping on this bandwagon. Grace Ranoff was on the bandwagon, claiming that yes, this is actually happening. So a lot of people, I'll go into what she said in a bit, but basically he wrote, so this is on Murphy's Multiverse, wrote, Kevin Feige has finally has his chance to envision the characters to fit in his ever-growing sandbox of a multi-platformed universe, and thus having Charlie Cox as Daredevil. Now, I've always been a big advocate of Charlie Cox's performance as Daredevil. I think he's perfect, and I really didn't think they should recast that role. So it looks very much like they've decided not to recast and decided to go ahead with him. I'll just put up here. This is the scoop on Murphy's Multiverse right here, and you can go and check that out. And also, just so you can see, exclusive, Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil in Spider-Man 3. But also, then, when you have the time, go and check this little article out here as well on small screen, which I wrote. And then, after that, so this was going on, and I was like, what the hell's going on? This is crazy. This is so... This cast list for this movie is mind-boggling. It's just, I can't really deal with it. And then Grace Ranoff went and confirmed that Charlie Cox's Daredevil will be Peter Parker's lawyer in Spider-Man 3. I'm going to put reportedly at the end of this because I'll show you her tweet. Her tweet's here. So I checked. Charlie Cox as Daredevil is back in Spider-Man 3, and I can add to the story that he will indeed be Peter Parker's lawyer. Feige considered She-Hulk to represent Parker, but felt the Daredevil connection in the comics was stronger. She's going to be making a video today. She's probably making one as we speak. She's probably doing a live about that. I find that quite amusing. That she's like, yes, I checked with my sources. I can't do an American accent, but I checked with my sources and it's happening. It's definitely happening. Great. You know, I'm like, why didn't you say this before then? But no, apparently, according to her sources, Peter Parker will need a lawyer, of course. If you remember correctly, if you remember at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, that film ended on the kind of bombshell cliffhanger with J.K. Simmons' J. Jonah Jameson turning up, and basically, he's kind of like in the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe, he kind of is a bit like Alex Jones, like InfoWars type character, and I actually think that's fantastic. I think that's perfect for him. And on his show, which I think is broadcast in Times Square in New York, I think, I can't really remember. It's been a while since I watched the film, but he basically says that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, then he plays a video of Mysterio and Spider-Man's fight, in which Peter Parker is unmasked, and then he edited it to make it look like Peter Parker murdered Mysterio. And so how is he going to get out of that one? Well, it looks like Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock is going to be representing him in court. There have also been rumors, so these rumors come from Mikey Sutton over at Geekosity, that somehow they're going to bring in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's version of Spider-Man, their kind of Peter Parkers, to then come into the story and help get him off somehow by proving potentially that one of them is the actual Spider-Man. It might end up being like a Spartacus moment where loads of people go, no, I am Spider-Man. That would be quite fun, I think. That would actually, now that I think of it, that would be a really good way to get through this for Peter Parker to get out of this. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. It is bonkers. There's so much stuff happening. Honestly, this Spider-Man movie, to me, feels like it's going to be the kind of event movie of next year. I mean, it was already going to be a pretty big movie, but the Spider-Man films have kind of been a bit smaller scale. This one, I mean, you just go through that cast list. I think I wrote it in one of. I'll try and do it off the top of my head, but I did write it in one of the articles. But it's got Holland, Zendaya, Batalon, and I'm forgetting. So the original cast plus Benedict Cumberbatch, Jamie Foxx, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, Emma Stone, and Charlie Cox. If I didn't say, Charlie Cox. That is an insane cast. I'm pretty sure I'm missing people out that have supposedly been confirmed for this movie, but it's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. And I think I'm using that word way too much tonight, but it is, for me, it's like, what the hell's going on? But it's also, Mikey Sutton also said it's going to be the longest Spider-Man movie ever made. I'm pretty sure that's true. That's probably a given how much is going to be in this film. The multiverse is going to play a big part in this movie by the sound of it. So I don't think they'll call it the Spider-Verse. I don't think they'll do that. I mean, I don't know, but I feel it's like too early for that. But it basically is the Spider-Verse, but they're all the same versions of Peter Parker. Whereas the Spider-Verse is more kind of different versions of Spider-Man. If you remember, like even Spider-Woman can come into it, and Spider-Gwen. And if you remember the animated movie, Into the Spider-Verse, it's not kind of different versions of Miles Morales. It's Miles Morales, Peter Parker, Peter Spider-Pig, or whatever I can't remember what they called it, but it's like very, very different versions of the Spider-Man character, not just Peter Parker. So I think this might be more of a multiverse type thing. What else? So they've locked in, Gwen Stacy, done that. I think that's it. There's so much to go over, but let me know what you guys think about all of that in the comments below. It's a lot to go over. It's a heck of a lot to go over. But I am very, very excited for this movie. I think this is going to be, it's just going to be insane. And Charlie Cox coming back as Daredevil is huge news. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on from that and moving on to Michelle Pfeiffer confirming that she's returning for Ant-Man 3 as